sin límite de tiempo. En esta esquina.
伝説の黒髪を華麗に乱し狂い咲くこの花は儚く消える
Bienvenidos a esta edición de 2 de 3 caídas en esta esquina con...
Yeah, it is Cruiser Brody, a.k.a. Mr. Set the Tone, a.k.a. The Phoenix Kid.
Que nos va a estar acompañando para hacerle una entrevista donde todos nosotros le vamos a hacer preguntas y él tendrá que sobrevivir a estas mismas dando nuestras respuestas para que ustedes sepan más acerca del buen Phoenix Kid. Chicos, ¿están listos para esto?
Listos.
Phoenix Kid, are you ready for the questions, man?
I'm always ready.
Yeah, that's right. Así que vamos a dar comienzo a esto. We are going to start this, man. Dani, avienta la primera.
Ok, yo empezaré con la única pregunta que aprendí en inglés sin barreras. Phoenix Kid, why be a wrestler?
Because wrestling is the only thing I've ever wanted to do in my entire life. Since the age of 3 or 4, that's the only thing I've ever wanted to do. And now I'm getting an opportunity to do that, and I get to represent us luchadors proudly as an American luchador, and as an African-American luchador, something you don't get to see very often. So it makes me very happy to represent this mass and represent the culture.
Okay. Básicamente lo que el buen Danny Thunder preguntó fue ¿por qué ser un luchador? Y Phoenix Kid nos dijo que él desde los 3 o 4 años ha estado tratando de hacer esto, es la única cosa que él quiere representar, traer todo este rollo de la cultura de lucha libre y estarlo haciendo y sobre todo hacerlo como un exponente americano de la lucha mexicana, lo cual lo hace más importante. Okay, man, following question is from me. Mi siguiente pregunta. So, being a deathmatch wrestler, okay, I'm perhaps from all the bunch of guys here, I'm the one who is more into death matches and lucha extrema. So, my question is towards, as a deathmatch wrestler, which company is the one that you aim to join in the near future, or which is your top dream to join doing deathmatch wrestling, if you plan to keep that path, or if not, if you want to change to full Mexican lucha, like you could also do that, or even just wrestling. Come on.
Yeah, for me, if we're speaking strictly from deathmatch standpoint, the companies I would look to join is either Big Japan, Freedoms, or a full-time spot on the DTU roster. If we're talking just strictly wrestling in general, I think I share the sentiment with most luchadors. I would love to go to CMLL and try my luck there. Kind of get into that more traditional lucha libre style. I do admire that style very much, and I think that I could bring something different to a company like a CMLL. Not knocking AAA in any way, shape, or form, because that would be amazing too. But I think that because of the way I was trained in that more traditional American style, I think that would be more fitting for CMLL, where it would be able to counteract some of the traditional lucha libre, as well as me being able to add some of the traditional lucha libre to my arsenal as well. I think I would make a good matchup with several of the how do you say it, some of the smaller guys and the smaller divisions, and I would love to maybe potentially win a Mexican national championship one day.
Oh, that'll be awesome, man. Let me translate. Así que le preguntaba al buen Phoenix Kid, siendo un luchador de lucha extrema, ¿a qué empresa le gustaría unirse que fuera su ideal? Si es que decidía permanecer en el ámbito de lucha extrema y si quisiera unirse a un estilo más tradicional mexicano. Y lo que él me dice es que le gustaría ir a empresas japonesas como the All Japan o Freedoms, y me dice que si definitivamente le gustaría participar en una empresa mexicana totalmente de lucha mexicana como el CMLL. Entonces, que él estaría dispuesto a adaptar su estilo de pelea a uno más mexicano para enfrentar a los luchadores pues más de su talla, más de su nivel, y que eso le gustaría muchísimo y eventualmente ganar un campeonato de lucha libre mexicana.
Entonces, Phoenix, how did you get to Zona 23?
Oh.
That was a weird process. I had been talking to the promoter for maybe about a year or so. Then the Rejects, John Wayne Murdoch and Reed Bentley went out there. They had a really good showing. I talked to those guys about it, and they loved it. They said it was probably one of the coolest experiences they had. So finally, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to take a chance. Not too many Americans have been out there at this point. Let me hurry up and get out there before all the rest of the Americans figure it out and try to get there. And then it won't be as cool when an American goes in, because then they kind of sold the market at that point. So I took a chance. I got on the flight to Mexico City by myself, not knowing the language, and took a chance. And next thing you know, I'm jumping off of a truck in the junkyard in Mexico.
Yeah. ¿Le traduces?
No.
Ok. Lo que básicamente dijo Dani le preguntó de cómo es que llegó a Zona 23, acá a México. Y Phoenix Kid le respondió que fue una cosa totalmente de suerte, porque dos compañeros de él, incluyendo John Wayne Murdoch, habían venido aquí y le habían dicho que era una empresa excelente. Entonces, él vino a México sin saber nada de español y con sus propios recursos para tratar de hacer una lucha en esta empresa, de la cual le hablaron bien los otros dos luchadores, y dice que la próxima cosa que él estaba haciendo era saltando de un camión hacia unos tipos en unos carros en un deshuesadero, que si todos recordamos pues son las luchas que se hacen en Zona 23.
Que bueno, aquí yo quiero añadir algo. Cuando yo empiezo a hablar con Phoenix, él me comentaba que él quería abrirse camino en la lucha libre mexicana. Incluso, bueno, ahí platicando, él me comentaba y prácticamente nos dio una primicia de que él venía a Zona 23. De hecho, por ahí en uno de los capítulos que dimos, yo hablé sobre ese cartel, hablando que él venía a Zona 23.
Sí. Yeah. So basically what Danny is saying is when he contacted you, you told him that you were coming here to Zona 23 show. So in one of our episodes, we talk about you being an invited wrestler to that Zona 23 show specifically, and then we shared the footage of your match on our page. So we are trying to keep the fans updated with the things that you are doing around the Mexico City area, and some others that you have let us know in your social media. Monito,
what is your best experience in Zona 23?
¿Qué? ¿Qué dijiste?
What is your best experience in Zona 23?
En español.
Okay, yeah, no, I got it. No, my best experience there, I would say probably my best experience was just getting out there in front of that many people and having, the 600 plus people like out there like, punto and whatever. I'm sure they called me whatever, Lord knows what else. But it was really cool to be out there and have the entire crowd against me. And then immediately after, they're all like, let me shake your hand and let me take pictures and sign autographs and whatever. And I mean, that's the love that I felt from that crowd, that, whether it was being a technical, being a rudo, being an American, being a Mexican, whatever the case may be, that the fans as a whole generally cared about the luchadors and they cared about the wrestling. You didn't see anybody on their phones texting. If they were on their phones, they're videoing you, they're taking pictures, they're making weapons, they're doing whatever. They're supporting the wrestling. They're not just there just to be there.
Okay. Así que los monitos... pues tradúcelos, monito.
No.
Okay.
Dijo algo así de putos.
Básicamente lo que le preguntó Monito... ¿Qué le preguntaste, güey?
Que ¿cuál era su mejor experiencia en Zona 23?
Y entonces lo que Phoenix Kid le respondió fue que salir ante tantas personas, el ser capaz de poder presentarse y luchar ante tantas personas que le empezaron a decir de cosas como ustedes ya escucharon, pero que al final no importaba si fuera rudo, técnico, americano, mexicano, al final se acercaban a él y le estrechaban la mano, se tomaban fotos con él, y que todas las personas que estaban ahí no estaban texteando en su celular, sino que estaban bien metidos en la lucha, y si tenían el celular en la mano era para tomar fotos o tomar video, y que todos estaban precisamente ayudando al ambiente de la lucha libre a mejorar, porque hacían armas o gritaban o se involucraban dentro de la misma lucha, y eso generaba una mejor experiencia para el luchador. Muy bien, Alon Zombie.
Yo sí pregunto en español. Hey, por favor, ayúdame a traducir.
Ok.
Bueno, va una pregunta clásica, pero yo siento que importante. ¿Quién fue tu entrenador en la lucha libre y por qué decidiste el estilo extremo?
Okay, so Alan Zombie is asking, who's your trainer, your main trainer in the wrestling business, and why to choose over all the styles the Mexican lucha libre style?
Okay. So my original trainer was JT West, up in Alaska. Right now, with all this stuff going on, right now, like everybody else, I'm just taking a break. There's a school I'm looking to get into. Once everything kind of calms down, I'm not gonna say who yet. Just keep it due time.
Right.
But I don't know. I dabbled in a little bit of everything as far as styles wise. I think traditional lucha libre has been the hardest one for me to pick up. I've learned a little bit of it over time, but I think that's been the hardest style for me to pick up. But I've always enjoyed the lucha extrema, because I like the mix of the classic style with the hardcore elements as well, and it's something that still isn't very well known in the U.S., and it's something that I'm trying to incorporate more into as far as my style and bringing it to the U.S. and trying to make it a little bit more popular. That way, maybe some of the Mexican stars will have a better opportunity. Some of the lower guys that don't have as much of a name may have an opportunity to come in and do their thing in the States and not be so foreign to the fans, and the fans can really get into it. Hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, totally. Thanks. Básicamente nos dice el nombre de... can you repeat, please, the name of your main trainer?
Yeah, JP West.
JP West. Él fue el principal entrenador de Phoenix Kid en Alaska. Y dice que de ahí, ya sé, y dice que de ahí empezó a desarrollar todo este estilo, pero que el de lucha mexicana es el que más le ha costado porque es el que tiene más variantes. De todos modos, dice que él trata de incorporar cosas nuevas a su estilo para que no sea el tradicional de lucha, y que ha estado tratando de irse más a la lucha extrema porque siente que tiene más cosas que ofrecer por ahí. Entonces, dice que actualmente ha estado tomando un receso por todo lo que está pasando, pero que espera que cuando esto acabe va a volver a tomar ahora sí que impulso, y va a volver a alguna escuela que todavía no nos dice cuál, pero que pronto lo sabremos. Ok, man, thanks. Mike.
Que si ha tenido algún maestro mexicano de lucha como tal, y cuando llegó aquí, que fue lo más difícil que él tuvo que pasar, aparte de pues de no saber español.
Okay. So Mike is asking, have you ever been trained by some specialized lucha libre trainer?
So I did spend a little bit of time with Steve Payne as far as my initial Lucha Libre introduction on how to do some of the basics. Yeah, I spent a couple months with him. Like I said, just picking up the basics, like right before I went out to Zona, and a little bit after. Then after that, we kind of went our separate ways. There's no falling out or anything. Just we kind of went our separate ways. I got roped into a lot of American deathmatch stuff, and I was busy off doing that. He was off doing his own thing, so we kind of separated our ways. I still keep contact with him, but he's the guy that kind of really introduced me into how to do some of these basic things and how to understand the basics of the style. I want to eventually, after all of this is said and done with this virus, I want to kind of further my experience, and I'm even looking at spending a couple months in Mexico to maybe learn the style a little bit better from a more authentic source. And that's not a knock on him, just something I feel that would be more respectful to the style to go to the source and kind of learn it from there.
Okay. Básicamente dice que sí tuvo un entrenador en sus inicios, que fue Steve Payne, justo antes de venir a Zona 23, y que con él vamos, que entrenó lo básico, todo lo que era lo más rudimentario para entender la lucha libre mexicana, y que le gustaría, después de que toda esta situación se acabara, venir y pasar un par de meses aquí a México para aprender de manera más formal lo que es el estilo de lucha libre mexicana, ahora sí que en una escuela tradicional de lucha libre. Mike also asked if you had which was your major obstacle or difficulty besides the language when you arrived here in Mexico?
Really, honestly, the language was the only really hard part. I had my phone, so you have technology, so getting around Mexico City wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. It was just the language was really hard. Hearing a native speaker speak Spanish versus hearing someone who speaks a little bit of Spanish, a little bit of English is way different. So for me, especially being at Arena Mexico, it was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what the traditions are here. This cop is trying to tell me what to do, and I'm not understanding, and he's not understanding me, and we're looking at each other like we're silly. And the kid comes in, and he's trying to translate for both of us, and he doesn't know how to translate it, so it's getting all crazy. But outside of the language, everything else was pretty simple. It was like traveling anywhere else. Stay out of areas that look like you shouldn't be in, et cetera, et cetera. That was probably the hardest part, between the language and still being new to the lucha libre style. Some of the traditional elements of the match before it broke down to chaos. That was a little hard to kind of navigate through, but we made it through.
Ok, básicamente lo que está diciendo que no tuvo mayor complicación al momento de llegar aquí, salvo de lo que es el idioma. Dice que no entendía nada cuando llegó al Consejo Mundial, a la Arena México. Dice que él trató de comunicarse con las demás personas, pero que las demás personas no le entendían y él no le entendía a las demás personas, y que después llegó un chavito tratando de hacer la interpretación, la traducción de lo que estaban tratando de decir, pero que no era realmente bueno, entonces nada más estaban viendo así como si fueran niños pequeños o tontos sin saber mucho qué hacer. Y dice que aparte de eso, lo que siguió más complejo fue al momento de luchar, cuando empezaron con todo el llaveo y todo lo de lucha tradicional, que eso fue lo más complejo antes de que el desmadre se soltara. Ya dice que con el desmadre ya se niveló todo, pero que antes en el proceso de llaveo y contra llaveo que fue lo más complejo.
Sí, porque te hablas,
Lo que no nos dijo es que ese
pues
chavito
obviamente
Eran los maníacos.
era los maníacos.
Yeah. They said the little kid that tried to translate you in the CMLL was los maníaco.
Oh man, no, and it's so funny. This little kid, like, he was really trying, and his English wasn't bad. It was just that I think I was speaking too fast for him, and then he's trying to understand what I'm saying, and then he's trying to understand what the cop's saying, and he's like trying to translate it in the words that he understands, and it's just like, this kid was so confused by the end of it, and I felt so bad for him.
Él dice que no estaba seguro de que el niño no supiera bien qué estaba diciendo, porque decía que su inglés no era malo, pero lo que pasaba es que no tenía como que el suficiente vocabulario, entonces lo que él decía trataba de reinterpretarlo con las palabras que él conocía, pero realmente no era lo que trataba de decir, y es muy gracioso. Okay, man, so follow me in this, okay? You, Phoenix Kid, arrive to any promotion that you want, and you will face in the main event to which superstar, either Mexican lucha or deathmatch wrestling, and which kind of match it will be.
Okay, I got two here.
All right.
For death match, I want to go to Japan in Freedoms and face Valento Jack 1-on-1. Doesn't matter what stipulation, whatever stipulation they want to throw out. I'm down. That's one of the main people. I'm like, I want to face him.
Okay, hold on for that. Hold on, let me translate that. Le pregunto que si tuviera la oportunidad de decir cualquier promoción de lucha libre con cualquier luchador en cualquier estipulación, ¿qué lucha escogería él? Y él me dice, tengo dos principales. La primera es irme a Japón, a Freedoms, y enfrentar directamente a Violento Jack, y no importa la estipulación. Esa es una. Which is the other one?
And I'm probably going to butcher his name, so forgive me for this. But I would love to go to CMLL and face Titan.
Wow.
When I saw him live, I seen videos of him before, and I was like, okay, he's cool, whatever, every luchador ever. But when I saw him live, I was really like, I could make money with this guy. I could see like a really good traditional lucha libre, but pretty violent feud going on with me and him, and I could see a lot of pesos being made with that.
Okay. Él dice que también si tuviera que elegir otra, sería venir al Consejo Mundial de Lucha Libre y enfrentar a Titán. Dice que su estilo ya lo había visto antes, pero que cuando lo vio en vivo Dice que fue otra cosa totalmente distinto. Dijo que le encantó el estilo, cómo era de intrépido y violento, y dijo que ahí había muchos pesos si se pudiera hacer bien las cosas. Ok. Right on. Danny.
Phoenix, who is your idol in the wrestling or lucha libre?
¿Quién es tu ídolo?
Yeah. As far as American wrestling, my probably one of my biggest idols is Shawn Michaels, of course. Every kid that grew up in the 90s. From a lucha libre standpoint, and forgive me for butchering the name, but Negro Cassis. I don't know why, but just from the first time I saw him, I was like, okay, this guy is old school, but I love that he uses the Clásica lucha libre style, where he's not doing a lot of the flying, but he's doing a lot of hold for hold, a lot of grappling, a lot of Olympica style wrestling, and it made me be like, okay, lucha libre is more than just guys in masks doing flips and cool stuff.
Okay. ¿Quieres traducir, Dani?
Bueno, en la lucha americana su ídolo es Shawn Michaels. En la lucha libre es el Negro Casas, y creo que englobó por todo lo que es, ¿no? Desde el llaveo, el contrallaveo, que son las cosas que a él como que admira, que tienen todo, engloban todo eso de la lucha en estos dos luchadores, Shawn Michaels y el Negro Casas.
Mira, las clases de la secundaria sí surtieron efecto.
No, las clases
En los Mon-English.
Okay. Los Mon-English.
¿Por qué escogió el diseño de la máscara?
Okay. So Osmaniaco is asking, how did you choose the exact design of your mask? How did you get to that?
I don't even remember at this point. It just kind of happened. I knew I had elements of things that I wanted into it, and when I spoke to my mask, the person that makes my mask, they were like, "Okay, I think I have an idea," and they kind of took the words that I put out, was like, "Okay, this is what I envisioned," and they made it into something, and I really liked it, and I was like, "Okay, this is what we got." And I'm actually you didn't hear this, but I'm probably going to be looking at changing my mask very soon. You know, I want to. I've had these masks for 4 years now, kind of the same look, and I'm feeling like a change is due. So there's a couple of mask makers I'm looking at right now. One I'm really particularly looking at, but it's super pricey. But I'm thinking a little bit of a change is going to be coming up here soon.
Are those mask makers Mexican?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I kind of know who are you referring to. Básicamente dice que el diseño de la máscara a este punto ya ni se acuerda, pero que la persona que le hizo la máscara trató de acomodársela según él le dijo sus especificaciones y le puso cosas, y así resultó. Dice que ya lleva 4 años con esa máscara específicamente, y dijo que en primicia para 2 de 3 caídas posiblemente pronto le esté cambiando el diseño. Entonces viene una nueva máscara de Phoenix Kid. Nada más que dice que ha estado viendo so Danny Thunder is going to show you his own trademark mask.
Yes.
Yeah, half and half.
Yeah, I like it.
Y dice que ha estado viendo algunos mascareros mexicanos, pero que pues están caros, la neta. Y creo que ya sabemos de quién está hablando, pero bueno. There are others that are in that pricey that we could suggest you if you want, but that's all for you. That's all up for you, man.
Right. Yeah, that's something we can talk about, because I'm very particular about who does my masks, and I'm very particular about who does my gear in general. So I have to feel some kind of connection with them. I can't just be like, oh, well, this is the best mask maker in the country, let me go with this guy. And and there is one high profile one. I won't say their name on the show, but there is one high profile one I am looking at that has done a lot of work for CML, and I'm like, this match are really good, but I don't feel that personal connection, like my match is gonna matter as much as these guys' match are gonna matter when he's making it. And so that's something I take into consideration as well when I'm speaking to the person that's going to be doing my work.
Right. Estábamos hablando acerca de que le podíamos recomendar a personas que trabajaban bien y que no eran tan caros haciendo máscaras, pero él dice que él es muy quisquilloso, especial para quien le fabrica sus trajes, todo su equipo. Dice que necesita tener así como una conexión especial con esa persona. Dice que necesita sentir esa conexión y que no importa que sea el mejor mascarero de México, si no siente que es el indicado, que no lo va a hacer. Entonces es totalmente respetable. Mi estimado Osmonito, ¿o quién seguía?
Alonso. No. Digo yo.
Sí, bueno, no, seguía yo, de hecho. Sí, bueno, básicamente dos preguntas. Uno, ¿por qué el nombre de Phoenix Kid? Y dos, si cuando inició a entrenar, empezó a entrenar lucha libre, pensó que en algún momento iba a estar viajando por el mundo, por ejemplo, a México.
Okay, so two questions. Why the name Phoenix Kid?
That literally is a derivative of the wrestler Hayabusa. When I originally heard his name, I'm just like, okay, I can't be the new Hayabusa or whatever. So Phoenix Kid was kind of like, okay, this is my way to pay tribute to his name without blatantly ripping it off or having to jump through the hoops of like getting like special permission from whoever I would have to go through. Just kind of a subtle nod to it, to someone that really inspired me as far as the deathmatch stuff is concerned.
Okay. Él dice que el porqué del nombre es porque es una derivación de Hayabusa. Y entonces él habla de cómo fue su inspiración y de que lo que tuvo que pasar y de cómo él lo ve como una figura en donde puede pasar a través de quien sea y de cómo sea para lograr un objetivo. ¿Cuál era la segunda?
Que si cuando empezó a entrenar lucha libre pensó que iba a viajar por el mundo.
Okay, the second question is, when you start to train wrestling, have you ever imagined or pictured yourself traveling around the world doing this kind of art in front of large crowds?
I didn't. When I first started, I was convinced that I was never getting out of Alaska. I was going to be wrestling the same 5 or 6 guys that are up there. They're still up there. And that would be it. I never pictured I would be wrestling in Mexico, period. I never pictured I'd got opportunities to go to Puerto Rico and wrestle, or really travel as much of the United States as I've gotten to, or been on DVDs, or seen on international TV, or whatever the case may be. I never pictured any of that happening. And honestly, leaving Alaska was probably the best thing I ever did for my wrestling career. Because if I didn't, I would still be stuck up there and we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
Yeah. Básicamente lo que dice es que nunca se había imaginado esto, que cuando empezó a entrenar estaría dándole vuelta al mundo, que fuera a México, a Puerto Rico, que él se siente muy orgulloso de haber dado ya la vuelta a todo Estados Unidos, o a la mayor parte de Estados Unidos, y que jamás se le ocurrió haber salido en internet o en programas de lucha extranjera, y que sinceramente lo mejor que siente que le ha pasado es haber salido de Alaska, que si no hubiera empezado a entrenar posiblemente todavía estaría atascado allá en Alaska. Ok, Mike.
¿Cómo lo recibió a él la gente de su país viéndolo enmascarado? Porque obviamente allá no es la misma cultura, no le dan el mismo valor a la máscara que específicamente aquí en México. ¿Cómo lo recibió su gente?
Okay, so Mike is asking, how do you perceive the American crowd receives you with the whole mask gimmick? Is any different from any other wrestler, or is the same? Does it change a bit? How do you feel the crowd reacting to a masked luchador?
It really depends on where in the country I'm at. Some places are like super cool about it, and they're like, okay, we're used to seeing American lucha libre, so it's nothing new to them. And then some places are like, well, we don't know what the hell is going on right now. Who is this guy, and what's he doing here? What's up with the mask and all this other stuff. So it really just depends on where in the country I'm at that point. It's different for some places. Some places are just like whatever to it. Some places really enjoy it. No places like Mexico or Puerto Rico where they fully embrace it and they respect it. How they won't try to come up to you if you just don't happen to be out in public and not have your mask on. They may notice your tattoos or something. They're not going to come up to you and disrespect you and try to talk to you and whatever. They treat you with a great deal of respect, and that's something that really matters to me as well. And that's not a knock on the American fans at all. Don't get me wrong. Just it's something that's way different. It's a very different culture out there in Mexico and in Puerto Rico, because both places share a similar culture to wrestling versus the American culture, where it's kind of like, yeah, whatever. And some fans really respect you, and some fans are just like, what are like the shittiest people on the planet.
Dice que más o menos, porque depende del lugar en donde esté luchando. Dice que hay veces en que lo reciben bien, dice que hay veces en que las personas no saben qué onda, que les saca totalmente de onda de por qué un luchador está enmascarado. Dice que no es como en Puerto Rico o aquí en México, en donde un fan jamás te falta el respeto, y de que si te reconoce por los tatuajes o algo, no te expone en público. O sea que sí es distinto el tipo de público al cual te diriges, y que dependiendo de la parte de Estados Unidos en la cual te presentes. Pero que sí hay personas que sí están medio... no les importa mucho si estás enmascarado o no les gusta mucho la idea. Okay, so kinda in the same line of this commentary. A few days ago, have you ever heard about Cyclope and Miedo Extremo?
Yes, yeah, I'm super familiar with their work.
Yeah, so they have been in GCW and I think CCW and Freedoms in Japan, also in DTU. So they had this interview in another Mexican show where they were asked if they were treated differently in the locker rooms in GCW, and they say no. The GCW guys always has been really respectful and super cool about us. And then Miedo Extremo said, but there's one time when we traveled to Iron Rodden's IWA Mid-South Wrestling, when Devon Moore and Masada started doing some kind of disrespectful commentaries about being Mexican and stuff, and then Nick Gage had to step up and just step against them and tell them that they were as much as boys from the locker room as any other. Have you ever have this kind of incident either here in Mexico or Puerto Rico or even in the U.S.?
Definitely not in Mexico or Puerto Rico. Everybody was super cool, as cool as they could possibly be, all things considered. I couldn't really communicate with them, and they couldn't communicate with me as much. But they were still super respectful. They were still super cool. Puerto Rico, same deal. I could communicate a little better there. The dialect Spanish slightly different. I understood it a little bit more, but no. And then even in the States, I've had a few incidents where the locker room wasn't as cool, or whatever. But I just don't go back to those places. Simple as that. And those places are few and far between, where it's just like the locker room's toxic and they're being garbage people, they're not being respectful. But yeah, that doesn't happen very often. And I'm not even gonna give those places that type of publicity, because that's just putting their name out there and possibly getting somebody to view them and check them out and see why I said they're that way. So I'm not gonna give them that free airspace.
Ok. Básicamente le estoy preguntando acerca de que hace pocos días en este programa de Más Lucha estaban entrevistando a Miedo Extremo y a Cíclope, y que dijeron acerca del incidente que hubo con Ian Rotten y el Devon Moore en IWA Mid-South, en donde Devon Moore y Masada hicieron comentarios pues racistas acerca de ellos siendo mexicanos, y que Nick Gage tuvo que defenderlos y decirles que pues dejaran de sus mamadas, ¿no? Y dice que él nunca ha sentido esto en México, en Puerto Rico, pero que sí ha habido problemas de ese estilo en Estados Unidos. Fíjense que lo único que él hace es que decide ya no volver ahí, ya no hay problema, y que ni tan siquiera es bueno hablar de esas empresas, porque es darles una importancia que no merecen. Entonces, última pregunta, muchachos, para Phoenix Kid. Last question, please.
Okay. Phoenix, what has been your most difficult fight, or the fight you most remember, for the opponent or the place?
Probably my craziest match so far had to be the recently last October in San Jose, California for UGWA. It was me versus Guido for the Total Violence Deathmatch Championship. That was a big match. The first time I got to main event a show in a one-on-one match, and that was a couple months after Zona, so I felt like I was a different wrestler at that point. I will probably post that match again here tomorrow, actually. But that match, that crowd, everything about that match was just amazing. And unfortunately, I didn't come out with the win. But that's one of those matches I would never want to. I could never probably top right now. It would take something really big to be even more special than that match.
Okay. ¿Traduces? No. Básicamente lo que preguntó Dani fue que cuál había sido su oponente o su lucha más difícil hasta el momento, y Phoenix Kid responde de que hace unos meses, por ahí de octubre, tuvo una lucha en una empresa de Estados Unidos en contra de Guido por un campeonato extremo de deathmatch, y dice que específicamente esa lucha con ese público fue sorprendente, pero que fue muy difícil, y que fue 2 meses después de haber venido a Zona 23. Entonces él ya se sentía un luchador totalmente distinto a como era antes, pero que esa lucha ha sido una de las definitivamente más importantes y difíciles con ese oponente que es Guido. ¿Ok? Oponyaco.
Una pregunta rápida. ¿Qué prefiere, Consejo Mundial o AAA?
A ver, pregúntale en inglés.
No, tú eres el traductor.
Okay. So Osmaniaco asks, which one do you prefer, CMLL or AAA?
Right now it's CMLL for me by far. I feel like AAA is super Americanized. So if I want to watch that, I could watch practically any American promotion at this point and see something very similar, especially with the amount of Americans they're bringing in. I really like CMLL that they're sticking to the traditional lucha libre style, even though sometimes it's not the most entertaining. When they find a money matchup, they find a money matchup that works. But sometimes the lower card isn't always the greatest, but their upper card, oof, yeah, it's usually pretty good.
Ok, dice que definitivamente el Consejo Mundial, por mucho. Dice que el problema con AAA es que está súper americanizado. Que él siente cuando ve AAA que ve cualquier otra promoción gringa de lucha libre y que sí, a pesar de que el consejo muchas veces no es lo más divertido, que es lo más tradicional, que hay veces en que las primeras luchas no son tan buenas, pero que la cartelera principal que siempre está así a tope. Entonces, ahí la respuesta, mi estimado Alan Zombie. Última pregunta.
Gracias. Bueno, nos comentaba hace un momento que en Estados Unidos a veces lo ven raro por utilizar máscara. ¿Qué opina, por ejemplo, de luchadores como Rey Mysterio, que la tradición de la máscara la han llevado a través de empresas en Estados Unidos a todo el mundo y que tanto WWE como AEW ya le están dando más importancia a luchadores enmascarados?
Okay, so Alan Zombie is asking, how do you feel now? Well, regarding to when you said some people didn't understand that you had this masked luchador gimmick. How do you feel about Rey Mysterio in WWE, that he has been carrying around the whole mask tradition over their whole career, and how WWE and AEW has embracing lately the masked wrestlers or luchadors in their later years now? How do you feel about it?
I feel like a lot of these promotions, WWE, Impact, AEW, even though it's still relatively new, they're going after guys with already made names, which is great. I get it. You want to put a butt in a seat, but as much as they're embracing these luchadors, I feel like they're really missing the boat, or they're catching some of these luchadors kind of late, where they could be making a lot of money, or they could have been making a lot of money off of some of these bigger names that really hit their peak while they were in Mexico, and now they're kind of on their decline down, or they're having to adapt to a more American style now, so it's taking them longer to really get the money that they invested into these luchadors out of them.
Okay. Dice básicamente que se siente bien que ya les estén haciendo caso, pero dice que se tardaron mucho en adaptarlos. Dicen que AEW todavía está muy joven para ver qué hace, pero que la WWE definitivamente sí se tardó bastante en aceptar este tipo de gladiadores. Ok, Mike, última pregunta.
Yo quiero saber si él, bueno, ya dijo que sus ídolos son Charlie Manson y Chessman. Yo quiero saber si conoce a las leyendas tradicionales de la lucha mexicana, que es Santo, Blue Demon, Mil Máscaras, Canek, Perro Aguayo, y a quién prefiere de ellos, si es que los conoce, y si le gustaría pues alguna vez, no sé, conocerlos o enfrentarlos, si es que alguna vez tiene esa oportunidad.
Okay. So Mike is asking, okay, so we already know that you know Chessman and Charlie Manson, but he asked if you know or are aware of the Mexican legends of Lucha Libre, just like Santo, Blue Demon, Mil Máscaras, Perro Guayo, and if you do, which one would you prefer to face in a match?
Okay. I'm familiar with some of the legends. I'm still learning a lot of them too. But if I had to pick one legend to wrestle, it would be Solar by far. That would be my choice, mano a mano versus Solar. I wouldn't mind even facing a Paraguay Junior. I wasn't so fond of Paraguay Senior, but I found Paraguay Junior to be more entertaining, something more that I was into. But yeah, those would probably be the two big ones for me.
Ok, pues ya lo escucharon, que realmente sí es familiar con algunas leyendas, pero que si le preguntaran de enfrentar alguna sería Solar, definitivamente Solar, y que a él le hubiera gustado enfrentar algunas otras leyendas como el Perro Aguayo Junior, definitivamente más que el Perro Aguayo Padre. But here's a tough question for you, man. Have you ever heard about the Traumas, the sons of the Negro Navarro?
Yes. So I have, and I don't know a lot about Negro Navarro. But I've seen his work. Another person, because I really enjoy the hold for hold lucha libre style. So it's another person that I really kind of look in. When I've seen the little bit of the stuff I've seen, I'm like, yeah, this would be really interesting. But yeah, that I'm not super familiar, but I know a little bit about him. I've had friends do seminars with him and stuff. I unfortunately wasn't available at those times, but that's somebody I would really like to learn from, especially in the hold for hold game, because his traditional wrestling style is by far, even at his age, still better than a lot of these guys.
Yeah, there's a reason why Zack Sabre Jr. chose him to have a match when he came to Mexico, right?
Exactly. Which is a good match, by the way.
Yeah, it's awesome. Básicamente le pregunté que si conocía los Traumas. Y él me dice que sí era familiar con los Traumas y con el Negro Navarro, que él estuvo dando un seminario, pero desgraciadamente no estaba aquí cuando él hizo el seminario, pero que le gustaría muchísimo aprender del Negro Navarro, y le dije que sí, pues básicamente que por algo Zack Sabre Jr. lo había escogido cuando había venido aquí a México a hacer una lucha, ¿no? Okay.
El Negro Navarro, al único extranjero que ha enseñado es Angélico.
Okay, so Mike says in an interview, the Negro Navarro, the only foreigner star that he has trained has been Angélico. So, and that might be a thing, perhaps.
Maybe. Okay. Something else to look into for sure.
Yeah, if you ever make it to Mexico again and stay for a while there, maybe it's someone you should look forward to. That will be awesome. Okay, la última pregunta que yo tengo es, y entonces, Phoenix Kid, ¿qué es el siguiente paso? Phoenix Kid, now that you have told us who you are, what's your gimmick, where you have been, what's the kind of wrestling that you manage, what's the next step for Phoenix Kid? After this whole end of the world, crazy virus ends, what's the next step for Phoenix Kid?
The next step is for me to be the first African American to win a deathmatch tournament. After that, I'm really gonna zone in on trying to up my game and try to get into one of the bigger promotions like a DTU or a Triple I or a CMLL or even a Freedoms at that point. I'm really going to be looking to try to move on to the next stage of my career, but I want to get that one goal out of the way first before I really kind of move towards doing a little bit more and trying to get into more serious promotions and making this a not just a part-time deal.
Okay. Lo que dice Phoenix Kid es que su próximo gran paso es ganar un torneo de deathmatch y ser el primer afroamericano que gana un torneo de deathmatch, y que después de eso va a tratar de ingresar a alguna de las promociones grandes de aquí de México, como AAA, como DTU o como otras, y que eso planea enfocarse una vez que se termine todo este rollo de la pandemia. ¿Alguna cosa que tengan en el baúl, chicos?
Pues más que agradecerle, esperar saber pronto de él aquí en México, saber de todos sus logros, sabemos que lo va a lograr, y personalmente algún día coincidir en una de sus funciones en México o en Estados Unidos.
Okay, so basically, man, we're so thankful for you to take the time for this interview, to survive to all the maybe dumb questions or some non-important questions, but we really appreciate your time and effort to hang out with us. And Danny said that he expects that sometime you and him get her up in some wrestling show either here in Mexico or in the U.S. So, that's how we wrap here. We want to thank you. We want to offer you this little spot on our show. So let us know whenever you come here or wherever you doing crazy jumps out of the top of the big trucks. We are always up to promote your career, man. You're quite awesome guy.
Thank you, and thank you for giving me this time to kind of put myself out there and kind of get to really get to put myself to a group of fans I don't get to reach as often, that I would really love to be out there more and performing more for the Mexican fans and really earning their respect. So thank you for giving me this time to kind of tell them who I am and let them know that, hey, I love them just as much as they love wrestling, and I hope to be out there more after the end of the world.
Oh, man, thanks. And we'll let you know that we appreciate a little bit more the effort that you're making for entertain us, especially that you are carrying on with the Mexican mask thing and the whole gimmick. Dude, that's super special, and we really appreciate that.
No problem. Thank you.
But for now, yeah.
Ok, que esperamos, bueno, estaremos al pendiente de sus redes para estar compartiendo con nosotros en la página y tratar de ser un apoyo para él aquí en México y pues desearle lo mejor.
Yeah, well, basically, Danny is saying that we always support your career. Just let us know where we can find you. What are your media platforms? Do you have Facebook? Do you have Twitter? Do you have Instagram? TikTok, maybe?
But yeah, Facebook is the main thing you're going to find me on, and that's Phoenix Kid with 2 Ds. And I do Instagram as well, Phoenix Kid CFR. That's my Twitter handle as well. Those are the 3 places you're going to find me. If you want to interact with me, any one of them works. I'm always open to talk to the fans or other promoters or whoever it may be.
Ok, ahí lo tienen. Phoenix Kid CFR para todos aquellos que lo quieran contactar en Twitter, Facebook y Instagram. Phoenix Kid CFR. Man, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you so much for your time and your actually super cool attitude to reply to all your questions. We have nothing but gratitude to you and to support your awesome career so far. So, for this show was Ape Mayhem. Este fue Ape Mayhem.
Danny Thunder.
Alon Zombie.
Osmaníaco.
Y Mike Salas. Thanks, Phoenix Kid. Thanks.
伝説の黒髪を華麗に乱し狂い咲くこの花は儚く